forgot to shut the door. Quit. Okay, where was I? Heather. Where was Heather? Good morning. Quit, Oscar. Stop. Good morning. I am feeling pretty good. My eyes kind of look red this morning now. Feeling much better. Still stuffy. Don't really know why. Still stuffy, but feeling much better. I just went to bed super late last night. And I just woke up like 15 minutes ago. So, on the struggle bus this morning. Yeah, we're going to have to do something to hold Kelsey accountable to that going to bed early. Ow. Jeez. This is the type of morning it's going to be. Yeah, we're going to have to do something to hold Kelsey accountable. Because, I'll tell you what, it's harder than it looks going to sleep early when you're not used to that. I couldn't sleep either. Even when I finally did lay down, I tossed and turned for I don't know how long. And I laid down at 1. Thank you, Charity. Thank you. Casey, I be doing that. I ignore it. It's about like waking up in the morning. I ignore that alarm too. Like, I don't even like no alarm. No. 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 No, you're not terrorizing nobody this morning. Go back in there. Go find your father. No. No. Leave Oscar alone. Lay down. Or something. Oh boy. She said, oh, let him stay. Listen, if he chews on my cord over here, I'm going to beat him up. Better not. Quit now. That's gross. You're on camera. Don't you mess with my journal and stuff. How you go home? Where's your father? Yeah, go find him. Here, let me let you out. I'll be glad to. I'll be glad to. I'm glad you don't want to be in here. There you go. Yeah, good riddance. Listen, getting up heavy was the worst idea ever. I don't know why. I thought that'd be a good idea. It wasn't. I'm regretting it. I should have never done that. I won't get rid of him, and I love him, but I regret that decision. It's bad. Don't do it. It's so bad. She said, let me show you the door. I did. I let him right on out. Like, praise the Lord, he went out by himself. Next time I want to do anything crazy like that, y'all tell me no. I'm struggling in the morning so much, so you're not alone. We're going to figure this out. I thought I seen something. Yes, I did. We're going to do the part 2 of Joseph. And then tomorrow night, we will start reading somewhere else. We're going to do the part 2 to Joseph. Because I left off talking about how Egypt would have crumbled without Joseph. So we're going to be in Genesis 42, and we're just going to be looking over the rest of Genesis. Didn't he do a good job on the bookshelf? Let's see. Look at that. Look at that. Oh my goodness. Ain't it so pretty? I'm going to get a big, I'm going to try to go to Hobby Lobby today. And because, y'all, my prayer board got ruined in the process. So, I'm going to go get a big, just, cork board from Hobby Lobby. And I'm going to hang it right there. It's going to be so cute. But look. Ain't it so pretty? He hand built that. I'm so proud of him. I'm for real. Because, like, that was my complete vision. And I told him that that's what I wanted. And I knew he could do it. There was no doubt he could do it. I just wasn't sure, how it would look at the end. You know what I'm saying? But he killed it. Killed it. Done so great. I was so proud of him. I was like, sir. Like, that's amazing. As soon as he got done with it, I'm reading out of the Expressions Bible, and I'm going to be at Genesis 42. As soon as he got done with it, I started going in there and talking about our kitchen. He said, I don't need no more projects. I said, so on Monday then. Like, if you didn't want no more projects, you shouldn't have done so good. Like, that's all I got to say. Girl, you're going to be just fine. Promise. I know, right? Listen to those compliments. He does so good. I think he could do that for a living. That's beautiful. He done amazing. I'm so proud of him. It's my favorite room by far. I spent my whole weekend, you guys, if it seemed like I kind of went, MIA, I hit my head in my daughter's closet, so there's that. But I kind of did. I deep cleaned my house all weekend, literally. The only room that I got left to finish today is my son and my daughter's room. I ordered them both new beds, which I hope are gonna be okay. I got them new beds. I cleaned out clothes. I cleaned out my clothes, Emma's room, Emma's toys. I gave away Emma's so-said clothes the very day that I'd done that. So somebody who needed some for little girls. I cleaned out my pantry. Like, I did nothing but clean for 2 days. But it feels the absolute best, for real. Like, I needed to do that for my mind and my clarity and just to reset, Like, I cleaned everything, and Steve built a bookshelf. And best thing ever. So I reorganized that. Now I got this empty bookshelf. I got to figure out what I'm going to do with that. It's just great. I mean, it was just a really good weekend where I just cleaned all weekend. Y'all listen, I even went through y'all know that laundry basket that's got all your socks in it? Y'all know that? Y'all know what I'm talking about? If you don't, it's fine. But I totally have a laundry basket with all my socks in it. Because I don't like matching socks. And I even went through that basket. Yes, I did. I don't got a sock basket no more. I mean, I feel accomplished. I'm telling you what. And Steve even said, he came in there while I was going through those socks saying, I thought you'd be in here crashed by now. I said, no, sir, got lots of work to do. I mean, even went through the sock basket. I'll be honest with you, though. I was this close to throwing it all away and buying more socks. But I'm really glad I didn't. Really glad I didn't. I just went through it and found lots of socks. I did it. Like, I did. I was so proud of myself. Like, clean. That's all we've done. And we got something to finish today. We got to take Ethan's bed down and Emma's bed down. Get those to the basement. Because their new beds are going to be here. But then after that, like, I decluttered my whole house in like 2 to 3 days. Crazy. We are going to be at Genesis 42, and we're going to do an overview. I do still have like a couple of things left on my to-do list. It really does. I still got to do Steve's closet. So, like, our bedroom closet is, like, this is an older built house. So, y'all know what I'm talking about when it's, like, it's definitely not a walk-in closet. It's just, like, you slide the doors and it's a big, just square closet. Like, that's it. Like, there's no walking in it. You just hang your clothes and shut the door. Like, y'all know what I'm saying? Old farmhouse closets, okay? I got to go through that. And I have an idea to make that more functional for him. I want to put a shelf in there. Maybe 2 shelves. And, like, organize that really good. So I got to do that. And clearly we still got to organize the basement. That's going to be a whole weekend job all by itself. All by itself. So if I can't see it, I don't got to think about it. So not anymore about the basement. Not right now, anywho. But I will be soon. I can't ever find the matches once they're dry. Yep. He's got, like, he can hang all of his clothes up, but, like, everything on the bottom is just shoved on in there. So we need a shelf. Maybe 2 shelves. And then that'll be really good. I don't want to organize your side of the basement. I want to organize my little side of the basement. You mind your business. I'm pretty sure that I don't wear matching socks anymore. As long as they're the same style, I'm good to go. But I can't wear a long one and a short one. Or short one and a long one. We can't do that. But as long as they are like same style, I'll be not wearing matching socks. Be quiet. Do you want to get kicked off this life? I'm just being nice to you. And telling everybody all about your bookshelf. I will do what I want to with that basement. I can't. I'm horrible when it comes to socks. Well, if they would just come out the dryer the same way you put them in the washer, matching, we wouldn't have this problem. But they don't. I love that. But they don't. All right, are you ready? We're in Genesis 42. We're just going to go over the second half of Joseph, right? We got to do, I thought about reading this morning, but we need to get the part 2 in. We need to get the part 2 in, so it'll make sense on YouTube. Right? So it'll make sense on YouTube. So what we left off, all right, with Joseph, he's a ruler in Egypt now, right? And he is helping them deal with the 7 years of famine. And they had 7 years of being prosperous, and now they're going to have a 7 years of famine, right? And we got done talking about how Egypt would have crumbled, okay, had God not sent Joseph, right? Had Joseph not went into slavery and all of these things. And I kind of want to mention this right here because this brings it up. You got to put all the socks in a mesh bag in the dryer. I like that idea. Somebody buy me a mesh bag. I'm going to get on Amazon here soon. I sure is. That's a good idea. I bet I do. See, I'm Kelsey, can run a successful business Kelsey, not Kelsey, Mom of the Year homemaker. See, I'm not good at homemaking. I can keep our house clean. And, yep, that sums it up. I don't even like cooking. Gosh, my family got a winner. Kidding. I planned all of our meals for this week. If I will plan the meals, I will make the meals. It's if I don't got a plan, you're not getting nothing to eat from me. Because I cannot operate without a plan. I don't know why. I just cannot. So I planned all that out. But I can keep my house clean, but I don't got no fun tricks, nothing for doing no smart things like putting socks in a mesh bag. Y'all got to share all that with me. Okay? Because that's the smart. That's the smart stuff. I want to talk about this really quick though. Okay? So in our Bible reading in a year, somebody was having a really hard time. Somebody was having a really hard time. Good morning, Haley. Haley, you be coming this morning? Megan, for real. We're in Genesis 42. So we're reading Job, right? Okay, Haley, sounds good. But Erin ain't gonna be here. I don't know if she's gonna get to come in either. So we're gonna talk about like what you gotta work on. But we need to get hope boxes done. But we're gonna figure it out. Because I got a lot to do today. I love that. Canning. A lot of people don't know how to do that. I do very well, much so know how to do that. My mom taught me. A lot of people don't know how to do that, and that's a very good skill to have. So we're reading the Bible in a year. And I made a post last night about like what they're reading, you know, what they had learned about God, all right, through their reading of Job for the weekend, right? And somebody said, I'm just having a really hard time understanding why God would make Job go through all this simply to prove something to the enemy. Like, why would he do that? Right? That is what they said. First off, that's not why Job had to go through it. I mean, it did prove a point to Satan, but it was a twofer, right? It also, we talked about this, helped Job fix his pride problem. Because Job had a pride problem, right? A lot of people don't know that about the book of Job. They think it's about why good people have to suffer when actually it's not. It's actually more about repentance. Job had to repent for being very prideful at the very end, and the Lord dealt with him on that, right? So, not only did that battle, okay, teach something to the enemy, okay, it schooled him, but it also brought out something that Job needed to fix in his life, okay? And I told her that, right? I told her that. But here's what I want you to notice about that this morning. Joseph, couldn't we say the same thing? God could have rescued Joseph at any point, right? It didn't have to take him 13 years. I'm sorry. It was 13. It didn't have to take him 13 years, okay, to become a ruler. Because God has all the authority. He can do whatever he wants, right? It didn't have to. But it did. Why? Because Joseph had things to learn. And it's horrible that his brothers sold him into slavery, right? But can you think for a second what would have happened if Joseph wasn't willing to suffer? I really want you to think about it. If Joseph wasn't willing and was fighting his whole way through this, of accepting, you know, what he was going through, he wouldn't have ever made it to become a ruler. Which means the famine would have killed all of Egypt. So, I want you to understand that sometimes your suffering doesn't have nothing to do with you at all. Sometimes your suffering is to help those around you. Now, my suffering, what I've been through in my life. I definitely had parts of me that I needed to fix. So the suffering helped me do that. It allowed me the opportunity to become completely submissive and humbled to the Lord, right? It allowed me to grow in fear of the Lord, okay? But what my suffering also did was help a whole bunch of people. My suffering also led me to my calling, right? So if I had to choose today whether or not I was willing to suffer again, I would say yes. And not because of what it would bring out of my life, but because of the other people that it's for. It wasn't ever just for me. Suffering caused me to start a company that brings hope into people's lives. Without my suffering, I wouldn't have needed hope. Right? And without learning what true hope was, I never created a company. Right? So, our suffering can happen for many reasons. Our sin can make that. Sometimes it don't happen for any reason. Right? I actually have a little chart that I was going to make on suffering because it's the one thing that people love to throw up when they're talking about the Lord. Right? But can you just imagine for a second? Egypt would have all died if Joseph wasn't willing to go through the suffering to get to be the person who was going to bring order out of that chaos. Right? So, it all depends on how you look at it. But your suffering, sometimes it isn't just for you. And I know that it's hard. And I know that you really don't want to be there. And I know you'd much rather prefer that the Lord just take this away. I get that. I do. Been there, done that. Prayed it over and over for the Lord just to take that away. I can prove it. Got journals that literally say, Lord, please take this from me. And literally, that's all the word is. Like, that's it. I have journals that say it. I even timed it. 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. Right? When I would just write in that journal, Lord, please take this from me. Lord, I'm hurting so bad. I don't want to suffer anymore. Right? And today, I write, Lord, thank you for my suffering. Because it's my suffering that led me to where I am. And this life is beautiful. Right? This life is so good to me. And my family. And I'm humbled every time I get to do something. Going through my child's clothes the other day and being able to just hand that bag. Right? I didn't even have to worry about selling it. I just said, here, they need clothes. Take those, please. Thank you. Yes, do we need to get those out of my home? Appreciate you. Like, being able to say, I want to redo my kids' rooms and then just redo their rooms just because I want to. Like, all those decades of suffering, right? Like, brought me to a place of this. And it's hard to accept sometimes. Because I'm like, Lord, I don't deserve this. I don't deserve this life. I don't. And I will say it over, like, I don't deserve this. Right? Like, and it makes no sense to me because I know I don't deserve it. But I know He uses me anyway. And He chose me anyway. And that goes for every one of you watching the live as well. So, suffering, I hate it just as bad as you do, I promise. And I know that it's not fun. And I know that it's hard. I know you're going to cry yourself to sleep a lot. I know. I promise I know. Me and my poor old dog, Oscar, right? Where he goes over there. He don't leave my side. I've had him since I was 18. He went through the struggle with me. He went through the struggle with me. He sure did. And he watched me suffer and he watched me struggle. Do you know how many nights that dog right there laid beside of me while I cried myself to sleep? Because I was so lonely and so tired and so over life. But I had to keep going because I had 2 little children who depended on everything about me. So who did I depend on when I didn't have nobody else to depend on? The Lord. And I'm telling you what best decision I ever made. The Lord blessed me more and helped me more than any human being could possibly. Right? So, I said all that to really say this. I know the suffering isn't fun. And I know that you may not understand. But there's a reason. And you're going to get through it. I promise. If you will allow yourself time. The difference between you and the people who actually get through the suffering is that they choose to get through it. It's a choice. It's a choice. I'm a big advocate for that. Their father, my children's father, they could have chose to stay. Or, I'm sorry, he could have chose to stay. And he didn't. And he didn't. He chose to leave. And by doing that, he left a very, very broken 5-year-old and a very, very broken 4-year-old. He left a little girl who watched them load her daddy's body into an ambulance. He left a little girl who was cleaning her room with me yesterday and said, "Can I have some of my daddy's ashes?" And I said yes. Right? He left me no other choice than to have to talk about what it meant to be cremated instead of having a stone like they're used to. I'm telling, like, he had a choice and he made it. Now, there's a twofold because what he did changed me in my life. And he is very much so the reason that I started on this, the reason that I realized that the world was lacking hope and I wanted to do something about it. Right? And I did. I very much so thank him for his sacrifice because of what he did. So many people have been led to the Lord because what he did sparked a fire in me. But it still raises the option. When you are asking yourself, what's the difference between me and this person out here who has went through suffering and overcome it? What's the difference? Why can they seem to do it and not me? Because they chose. They chose that they wasn't giving up. They chose life. They chose God. They chose to keep going even when the suffering seemed unbearable. They chose. See it? They made a choice. The only thing that's different between me and every single one of you on here is I made a choice. I made a choice to keep going, to change my life, to follow the Lord, to let him do whatever his will was with my life, to be the best mom that I could possibly be, even when it hurt. I made the choice to change my life. It's your choice. That is the only difference in the people that you look up to and you. Is they made a choice to keep going. They made the free will. Right? The Lord gave you free will and they decided to use it for good. Right? You have a choice. The Lord gave you one, which enables you to make the choice of whether you want to believe in him or not. Right? You have a choice. So make the decision. Joseph, all right, sold into slavery. That wasn't his choice. But to worship the Lord everywhere he went, that was his choice. It sure was. To keep going even when it seemed hopeless, yep, that was his choice. When he told that cupbearer to remember him when he stood before Pharaoh, right? So that he could get out, and that person forgot him. He didn't let it stop him. He kept going. He kept being faithful with every little thing that was in front of him. Yeah, he did. What are you doing? Go on your shoes. Okay. He was faithful, right? He didn't complain. He just did it with the Lord by his side, and the Lord blessed him in every opportunity. Even in prison, he was blessed. Like, because he made a choice that even in the suffering, he was going to follow the Lord anyway. Right? And because of that, he ends up being a ruler over Egypt and saving all of Egypt. It would have crumbled without him. That is what suffering will do in your life. He went from slave to ruler. All because of the way he treated his suffering. So, it's your choice. How are you going to treat your suffering? How are you going to deal with the bad hand that you've been given? How are you going to do that? Because it's your choice. Right? So, I need you to understand, and we're going to talk about the rest of Joseph. Your suffering isn't to harm you. Your suffering is to help you. But it can only do that if you'll allow it to in your life. Right? If you will allow the Lord to work through your suffering. Okay? So that maybe he saves all of Egypt. Like, you don't know what he's going to do. But your suffering is for you. Not to hurt you, but to change you. So that you can go out here and be everything that God has called you to be. I could not be where I am today if you removed the suffering from my life. Right? There's absolutely no way. Because my suffering is what made me who I am. Okay? So, I hope I get that. I hope I got that across. All right, y'all want to talk about Joseph? Your suffering is a season. Yes, I love that. When he comes back through here, he's going to have to take my coffee and go warm it up. Okay, do y'all think I can get through all these chapters in 30 minutes? Okay, we got to. We ain't got a choice. All right, are y'all ready? Okay, so Genesis 42, right? It's going to be a time of testing. So Joseph, he's become a ruler. What has happened? His brothers, okay, have come up to Egypt because they need food. It's a famine. The famine has spread to everywhere, right? So they come up to Egypt so that they can buy food, right? So they can take it back home and they don't starve to death and die, right? All right. So when that happened, right, his brothers came up there. He recognized his brothers, but they didn't recognize him. And I love verse 9. It said, and he remembered the dreams that he had had about them many years before. I wrote, he remembered, it came true. Y'all remember that? Many years before, he said, my brothers will bow before me. Oh my gosh, that's so good. I'm going to tell you what right now. I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but let me share it with you. You will arrive one day living in a dream you once had. I'm going to tell you what, and it's the best feeling ever. And it's the best feeling ever. You just end up there and you're like, wow, I remember when I dreamed about this. And it will humble you so much that you will almost be crying at 3 o'clock in the morning, because that is what happens to me. I will be reminiscing about the dream and the visions that the Lord gave me and where I'm at today. And I realize I'm here living the dream that I had. Thank you. Just warm it up. And I will cry. I will just ugly cry. Because I just can't believe that he chose me. Right? Like, I don't got time to elaborate. We got lots to get through. But there will come a day when you are standing in the middle of the dream that you once had. Don't miss out on standing in the middle of that dream and living it as a reality, because you gave up too soon. Right? Don't give up too soon, my friends. Don't. Okay, so Joseph tested them to see if they had changed, right? He tested them to see if the brothers had changed, right? He's going to put them through a series of tests because he needs to see if they changed from who they used to be. Long story short, they did. Okay? It is clear. Oh my goodness. It is clear in verses 21, thank you, that they were still thinking about Joseph. They still remembered that, right? Verse 21 says, speaking among themselves, they said, clearly we are being punished because of what we did to Joseph long ago. We saw his anguish when he pleaded for his life, but we didn't listen. That's why we're in trouble, right? So they've been holding guilt for all of these years, right? They have been holding guilt for all of these years for what they did. Oh, man, I just got a word. We're never going to get through this in 30 minutes. We aren't ever. We're not ever. But I'm going to have to say it anyway. There might be something that you did. I tell you what. A long time ago. And you are still holding guilt. From all those years ago. You walked around this whole time in life holding on to guilt of what you did that was wrong. I'm going to tell you what. Repent and ask for your forgiveness, which I'm probably sure that you have a whole bunch of times. Let me tell you a little secret. The Lord forgave you. The minute you repented and you meant it, He forgave you, friend. So you are walking around carrying this guilt that you don't have to carry. You don't have to carry that. You don't. It will do nothing but hold you back. If you have repented about it and you have asked for forgiveness, the Lord has granted it. Period. No questions asked. And you don't have to walk around holding that anymore. I just want to tell you that. I wonder how many times, the parts of the story that we are missing, about how many times those brothers thought about their brother and felt bad for it. The guilt they were carrying. All those years. Right? I'll tell you what. And then, verse 23. Hold on. Verse 24. Now he turned away from them and began to weep. He cried. Now, we don't know exactly why he cried, but let me break it down for you of why I think he was crying. They still remembered him, number one. They hadn't forgotten what they did. But number two, and the biggest thing, knowing who Joseph is, knowing Joseph's character, I think he was weeping because he was sad that they had been carrying that guilt for their whole life. And it hurt him that they were hurting. Even though they threw Sodom in the thing. You know, I think it hurt him because that's who Joseph was. That is his character. I'm telling you what, we need character like Joseph. We need character like Joseph. All right, so long story short, they ended up filling their sacks with grain, right? And he told them instructions to return all the payment back into the bags, right? And then the brothers figured it out that their money had already got put back in the bag, and then they thought that was a bad thing, but it was really Joseph, right? It was really Joseph doing a bunch of tests, right? Doing a bunch of tests. And then he wanted his brothers to bring Benjamin back, right? Why did he want to do that? Number one, he wanted to see if they were going to treat Benjamin the way that they treated him. Number two, Benjamin was his only full brother, okay? Rachel had 2 children, and it was Joseph and Benjamin, okay? So that was his full brother, and he ain't seen him in a really long time, right? Because he got sold into slavery 13 years prior, all right? So, when they came back and they're like, hey, Dad, bro, we need to take Benjamin because this guy wants to see Benjamin, right? And he said, absolutely not. I don't even trust y'all, my kids no more. Absolutely not, right? He didn't want to let Benjamin go because he was too scared that he wouldn't come back because of what had happened to Joseph, right? He was being fearful. Well, then you go into Genesis 43. Now, I noticed something, and I just want to see what y'all be thinking. Okay, so they went back home, and they said, hey, Dad, we need to take Benjamin, all right, with us back here to, let's see, he held somebody, didn't he? Hold on. It's been a minute since I read this because I read it last week. Hold on. Did he? Choose one of your brothers to remain in prison, the rest of you. Yes. Okay. So somebody has been left in prison. I'm just going to tell you right now. One of them. I'm not going to go dig deep. One of them has been left in prison and they went home. Okay? Are y'all with me? They went home and said, hey, Dad, we need Benjamin. We need to go back and get a brother. And he was like, absolutely not. We're not doing that. I'm not losing my other son. So, in verse 1, I'm sorry. Well, we'll read verse 1 and 2 of Genesis 43. Watch it. But the famine continued to rage the land of Canaan. When the grain they had bought from Egypt was almost gone, Jacob said to his sons, go back and buy us a little more food. They didn't go back right away. And I'm just wondering, okay, so my Bible actually says that by this time, 2 full years of famine had passed. So, wait a second. They left him, bunch of heathens, left him in prison for 2 years while they ate on all that food that they went to get, or grain, and didn't come back until they were almost empty. Rude? Okay, I bet Joseph thought they wasn't coming back. I don't know why I pulled that out, but when I was reading that was talking about family problems, I know that's right. He's like, sacrifice him, I don't care about him, but you ain't getting Benjamin. You ain't getting Benji. Okay? Let's just leave him up on in that prison, but y'all ain't getting Benji. Right? Way to make a brother feel loved, my friends. I'm telling you what. I can't. I don't know why I noticed things like that, but I thought that it wasn't funny, but a bunch of savages, I'll tell you what. And it was hilarious. I can't. Okay. So they left him there and they went home and they enjoyed that grain. Right? And, thank you. They enjoyed that grain until they almost ran out. Now, I want to propose something else to you. I got lost. I'm full of lessons this morning. Spending a whole weekend cleaning, okay, and then getting into the Word, best thing you could ever do. You'll have so many realizations. How many times have we went to the Lord to fill up our cup? And we went to Him and we filled our cup up. And then we went about our day and went on with our lives. And the Lord stayed here because for some reason we didn't carry Him with us. So we went off and we went back into our lives, and our cup slowly just emptied and emptied and emptied and emptied. And we didn't come back to the Lord until it was almost gone. Gosh, that's a good message. Don't wait until you're out of grain before you go back to the Lord. Don't do that. Carry Him with you. We wait until our cup is so poured out that there is nothing left before we will return to the Lord. I tell you what, that's good. That is good. He fills up your cup. That is a whole word, Angie. Like, why do y'all think I do these coffee talks as much as I do? Like, if you go to church on Sunday, I don't have a church home, so we're not talking about that. I know somebody's going to ask where I go to church. I don't have a church home, been looking for one. That's a story for another day. But, say you go to church on Sunday, or you listen to an online church on Sunday, or you listen to a podcast on Sunday, and you expect that Sunday sermon to fill you up for the rest of the week, you are crazy. My leg's asleep. Oh, I hate when that happens. You are crazy. It will not fill you up. It might fill you up for the day. But by Wednesday, you are going to be back down to this. Because life is just hard and tiresome, and all kinds of things just happen all the time, right? Like, Steve's talking to somebody. All kinds of those things, like, you gotta plug in daily. Daily. I'm in my Bible, listening to worship music, or listening to somebody preach every single day. Every day. And on the days I don't make it to study, I make it to worship. I will listen to worship music all day long. The whole time. Like, don't wait until the grain's all gone before you decide to return and get more. Because you can actually have plenty to fill your soul every single day. You don't gotta wait until it's gone. We're never gonna get through this. Yes. Okay. I don't know why it was freezing up, but it did say I lost connection of some sort. But I didn't. Y'all hear my birds? I love my window so much. I got like a big old window. And I love it so much. I would show y'all, but Steve done got everything in this backyard, between a basketball net to a big old, 3 about big old piles of brush. I mean, I don't know what he's doing. I really don't know what he's doing. A race car sitting out there. It is a beautiful sound. Okay, all right, so the same one who had the bright idea to sell Joseph in the first place, I keep forgetting I have coffee, is the same one who said, verse 9, I personally guarantee his safety. You may hold me responsible if I don't bring him back to you. The Lord had got a hold of Judah. Somewhere in between him selling her into slavery, him and his baby mama John with Tamar, and now having to take Benjamin back to Egypt to meet Joseph to get more food. That man had changed. That man had changed. Oh, gosh. The Lord had got a hold of him. Yes, he did. Okay. I ain't got time. You don't got time to focus on it, Kelsey. You don't got time. Keep going. Okay. So, he already is now a changed man. And he's, I'm gonna say Benjamin. Count me responsible, right? It's gonna be my job. You can punish me if I don't bring it back to you, right? Gotcha. All right, so a little bit of time passes. Let's see where we at. All right, a little bit of time passes. He brings him there. They get escorted to Joseph's place. They have dinner. Blah, 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 blah. They have a weird seating arrangement, right? Because Joseph is a ruler and they're not. But that's neither here or there. We ain't getting into that. Let's see. Joseph aligned them in the seats in order from oldest to youngest or youngest to oldest. I don't remember exactly, but in order, okay? In order. And then when Joseph looked at his brother Benjamin, it brought up a lot of emotions for him, right? Oldest to youngest. Thank you. It brought up a lot of emotions for him, right? And then he brought out the food. So, Jacob is going to give one final test now in Genesis 44, all right? The one final test is he's going to put this silver cup, all right, in Benjamin's bag, right? And then they're going to notice that cup gets there, okay? And then he's going to say, I need to put him in prison or da-da-da-da because, he stole my cup. And we see good old Judah, right, stepping up, saying, take me instead, right? Judas used to be a selfish person. Judah, used to be a selfish person. One that would sell his brother into slavery over a robe and a dream. But now, he's a person that said, take me instead. Heart change right there. That is so good. I know there's stories about Joseph. But his brothers even got a story. And they finally did it. They finally proved to Joseph that they were no longer heartless, cruel, or as mean as they had once been. And because he was willing to offer himself in Benjamin's place, Joseph finally decided that they were changed. And he revealed himself to them. And this is where it gets so good. You remember what I was saying about suffering? Oh, okay. He said, I'm Joseph, brother, whom you sold into slavery in Egypt. But don't be upset. And don't be angry with yourselves for selling me to this place. There's that guilt you got permission to get rid of. It was God who sent me here ahead of you to preserve your lives. Oh, gosh. This famine that has raged the land for 2 years will last 5 more years. And there will be neither plowing nor harvesting. God has sent me ahead of you to keep you and your families alive, to preserve many survivors. Let's see. So it was God who sent me here. Oh, not you. Gosh. And he is the one who made me an advisor to Pharaoh, the manager of this entire palace, and the governor of all of Egypt. Oh my gosh. I wrote a note that said, Joseph's brothers may have wanted to get rid of him, but God used their action to fulfill his ultimate plan. God's plans are not distracted by human actions. Need I say more? Like, do I really got to say anything else? That is like some of the most powerful stuff. I love that. That is some of like my favorite parts of the Bible. And it just proves so much that what somebody meant for your bad, what somebody did to you for their own personal gain, the bad that somebody has done to you, doesn't matter. Because the Lord will take it and will use it for the good of you and everybody involved. He will take your brother selling you into slavery and turn you into a ruler of Egypt. Oh, we're actually in Genesis 45 now. That is some good stuff. Like, I don't even think I need to get along. I'm telling you what. I love that. He forgave them. He told them not to worry about, all that guilt they've been carrying. And he recognized it was God that sent him. It was God that sent me. Y'all know what else I noticed? The famine that has raged the land for 2 years will last 5 more years, and there will be neither plowing nor harvesting. Sometimes we're so busy plowing or we're so busy harvesting that we forget to get silent with the Lord. And in the cases we do that, maybe you were so busy plowing and you were so busy harvesting that you forgot who gave you the ability to plow the land and to harvest the crop. So maybe he sent a famine so that you'd have to slow down. And so that you would focus your eyes in the place where it was most deserved, and that was to the Lord. So that he could prove to you that he can take care of you. He can send somebody before you that will take care of everything. Right? That's good. I'll tell you what. All right. Now get this, though. It gets a little bit better. I'm serious. So in Genesis 45, 16 through 28, Joseph didn't only become ruler and go through his life doing all this, test his brothers to finally reveal himself to them. Okay? Forgive them. Man, he's a good man. But now, he was going to bring his whole family there. I can't. The cough is getting me. It will not go away. Neither will the stuffiness. Like my nose. Neither will the stuffiness. I cannot. But Joseph, he's going to bring his family to share his wealth. Joseph's family went from barely making it to fabulously wealthy in a moment. In a moment. I tell you what. So this ain't just a story about Joseph and his redemption, but also about his family. Like, the same ones who sold him into slavery is the same ones that he said, come live with me and let me take care of you. Adrian, leave me alone with my milk and my coffee. The whole family being delivered. Yes. Gosh, that's good. Let's see. When you say, how do you forgive, do you mean like, how do you forgive somebody who's like done you wrong? Like what that means? And if you are, I guess the biggest question is, if you are still thinking about or have hard feelings towards someone or something that happened to you, then you're still harboring unforgiveness. And the way that you forgive somebody for what they done is as simple as saying, I forgive you, even though you're not sorry. And you really mean it. You don't hold that over their head anymore. You don't bring it up anymore. I talked about this. When did I talk about this? It's on YouTube, ain't it? I talked about forgiveness. Do y'all remember when? And I think forgiving your family also has a lot to do with biblical boundaries. I have a course on that on my website. But there's also, I don't remember which YouTube video it was, but there's a YouTube video about it. Yeah. And it will. Forgiving them is not for them. It's for you. And when you can say, I forgive you, even though you're not sorry, and you can move on with your life, and that means maybe creating boundaries, because you can forgive somebody and still not let them continue to do what they're doing to you, if that makes sense. Like, it's a whole thing. That could be a whole conversation. But I hope the little bit that I did say helped you a little bit. So the whole family got delivered, and then Joseph forgave them, right? Joseph provided them with wagons as Pharaoh had commanded, but he gave them supplies for their journey. He gave them money. He sent a bunch of stuff. Joseph forgave them, though. I wrote that down. I said, and demonstrated how God forgives us and showers us with goodness, even though we have sinned against him. Even though they sold him into slavery, he said, here's the wagons and donkeys and the money, and go get dad, and y'all come back, and y'all are going to live wealthy. In the midst of a famine. Oh, buddy, that's good. I tell you what, they became wealthy and well-fed in the midst of a famine. The same God that done that for them is who we serve today. So, people are over here worried about sickness and the bills that won't quit coming. The way life is right now. Eggs are really expensive. About to buy me some chickens for real. Milk's expensive. Everything's expensive. But you see, they didn't even have any. They were in the midst of a famine. They had no food. Nothing was growing either. And they became a family who didn't even have to worry about where their food was going to come from in the middle of it. Don't you tell me God won't do it. Because the same God that is here in this page, it's the same God we serve today. Ooh, if he can make them wealthy in the midst of a famine, quit limiting his ability of what he can do for you in the midst of what we are going through today. I hate that. I'll be honest with y'all. My husband's world worst. He really is. And I hate it. The world's worst, we're saying, well, it just ain't looking good. Well, I don't really care what it looks like. Well, things are going to get worse. I don't really care when things get worse. Y'all worried about the wrong thing. Y'all focused on the wrong thing. Y'all focused on how it looks bad. You're focused on the prices of this and that and the other. Your eyes are looking in the wrong direction. I don't care how bad it gets. My eyes are focused on the Lord, and He can deliver me in a famine and make me not have to worry. I'm not worried about it because I know who God is. That is when you got to express your faith the most. Because the enemy wants you to see the places. He wants you to see how hard life is getting. He wants to distract you with the mess around you. My friend, don't lose focus. Don't you lose focus. Because the same God who took a whole family in the midst of a famine, nothing was growing, nothing was happening, they wasn't going to get nowhere. They became wealthy and did not have to worry about it. People ask me all the time, Kelsey, how do you not worry? Because my eyes are set on the one who tells me I got to. I don't care what the statistics say. And that's how I ended up here, my friends. Because I didn't care what the statistics said. I didn't care how expensive things was. I didn't care what it looked like on the outside. It's what the Lord said I could do, so I'm going to go do it. In the story. I don't care what it says. I don't care if it says everybody's dying. I'm still focused on the Lord. I don't care what the prices are. I'm focused on the Lord. He's going to be the one who makes a way for me to be able to afford that. I can't lose time focusing on how expensive that is. I need to save my focus on the Lord who can make a way for me to get those eggs. You focused on the wrong thing. Because He made a whole family rich in the midst of a famine. They were struggling to eat, and now they had more than enough. He can do the exact same thing for you. It's what are you focusing on? What are you looking at? Are you looking at, what's that? More coffee? For me? Oh, appreciate that. That still has plenty in it. Where are you going now? Ooh, that's hot. That's going to be good. Real hot. Real hot. Real hot. Definitely going to be praying for you, Crystal, over the doctors and the hospital and the procedure itself. I'm most definitely serious about owning some chickens. I would love some chickens. I would love to get my own eggs. I'm going to make a farmer out of Steve yet. I'm going to buy you some chickens first. You ask for a tractor, you get a chicken. Same thing. Yes. Like, I don't know. How did I get where I am? I focused my eyes so strongly on the Lord that nothing was going to distract me. Yes, I'm going to post your calendar for the membership in just a little bit. Like, gosh, that's good. That is so good. I tell you what, you just got to pay attention to the right things, my friends. You just got to focus your eyes on the one who can deliver from anything and everything. It is my biggest pet peeve. I tell you what, my husband does it. He'll say, well, it's looking bad. I don't really care what it looks like. I've never cared what it looks like, and I'm not going to start now. I don't care what they're saying. I don't care how bad it may look on the outside looking in. I don't care. because I know who my God is. And whatever he chooses to do with this situation will bless me, no matter what it is. No matter what it is. I watched him take my suffering and turn it into something so extraordinary. I'll forever trust him with everything. Whether I end up back in a suffering season, I could lose it all. And if I do, I'll still trust him. Because if he brought me here once, he'll do it again. And I may never lose what we have. But in the instance that I don't, I'll spend the rest of my life helping people who do lose things. So no matter what my situation will be, somehow, some way, I'm going to be focusing on the Lord, my friends. And doing my best to listen to him and do what he calls me to do. I tell you what. Gosh, that's good. All right, so Jacob's family journeyed to Egypt. And we actually see in verses, in Genesis 46, verses 3 and 4, we actually see, where Jacob is actually fearful to leave because he's scared of what is to come. How often have we been Jacob and we've been so scared to move when the Lord says move? He's trying to take us to blessings, but we hindering ourselves because we're scared. That's a whole nother message. Don't got time for that this morning. But the Lord came to Jacob and said, hey, I'm going to be with you. This is the right move. Get moving, sir. Right? And Jacob left. Gosh, that's a whole word I hate. I got to skip right over that. I'll tell you what, I'm full of words this morning. All right. Listen, Jacob, this is when Joseph seen his father again, there was a 22-year absence. And they hugged and they wept. What a reunion. Then Joseph helped his family get the land that they needed. I wrote this down. I'm just going to read it to you, and then we're going to skip ahead a little bit because we are almost done. My nose is itching. Okay. Jacob's faithfulness affected his entire family. We done said that. Joseph probably often wondered about his future when things didn't seem so good. But he faithfully kept his eyes on God. And when we can't see what's coming, we can know that if we remain faithful to God, he will honor our faithfulness. That's good. That's good. And then, let's jump ahead. Genesis 48, verse 11. Then Jacob said to Joseph, I never thought I'd see your face again, but now God has let me see your children too. God can restore hope to a hopeless situation. 22 years before, he sent Joseph away and he never came back. He thought he was dead, and that situation was hopeless. Jacob was standing face to face with a hopeless situation. He was standing face to face with a situation that he had done deemed, as hopeless. And hope was restored. I tell you what, gosh, this is good. Then we're going to see Jacob bless his grandchildren, Joseph's children, and it swaps again, right? It swaps who is supposed to get the blessing and who really gets the blessing, right? And the other reason I'm even mentioning that is because I also took a note on that, and I said sometimes God picks the less obvious person. Oh, gosh, that's a whole nother word. We don't got time for that one. Y'all remind me. We'll come back to it one day. Jacob reminds Joseph of God's promises. And then it goes into Genesis 49. This is the father calling all the sons together and blessing them all, right? I really liked this section. And I took a lot of notes right here. And the biggest thing I did is I wrote down who actually comes from who, which was really cool. So Reuben, his sin came back to get him. He had slept with one of his dad's concubines, which is mistress, I say. So he didn't get nothing because of that. See, I better be careful because that's sin. It'll sneak right on up on you, my friends. It'll do it. It'll sneak right up on you and take away all your blessings. Let's not do it. So Levi actually would be Moses, Aaron, Eli, and John the Baptist. Judah, all right, would actually be the line of the promised Messiah. That touched me right there. That touched me right there. The same man. And he is a story of some redemption. The same man who decided it was a good idea to sell his brother into slavery was the same man chosen for Jesus. Yes. I tell you what, amen. That's good. That's good. I don't care who you are. And he's also the line of David and Solomon. Zebulun would settle by the seashore. So he'd settle by the sea, and that's how he'd make a living. One of them would drive their own self into slavery because they grew comfortable where they were and wouldn't stand up for the right things. Dan, the line of Dan, would be Samson, right? Joseph would actually be Joshua. Is that Gideon? How do you say that? I don't know how to say that. I can't say it for some reason. Samuel and Deborah. Y'all remember Deborah? We've talked about Deborah. Do y'all remember Deborah? Ooh, that's good. And then Benjamin would actually be King Saul, which is the bad king. Esther, which we all love. And then Saul turned to Paul, right? The Apostle Paul would actually come from Benjamin's line. That's good. And then we get the Genesis 50. And after their father died, the brothers become fearful again. And they think that Joseph is going to take all this anger out on them. But he never does that, right? He never does that. He instead reminds us of how he truly forgave them, right? He reminds us of how God truly forgives us even when we don't deserve it, right? Because that's what Joseph did. And then I wrote, God brought good out of all the brothers' evil deeds and all the things that Joseph had to go through. Because it says, but Joseph replied, don't be afraid of me. Am I God that can punish you, right? We got to realize that we aren't God and that we can't punish people. That's a whole nother lesson. You intended to harm me, but God intended it all for good. Yes, he did. He brought me to this position so I could save the lives of many people. Yes, he did. You tell him, Joseph. No, don't be afraid. I will continue to take care of you and your children. Oh, that's so good. So he reassured them by speaking kindly to them. Goodness. If y'all ain't blessed by this word this morning, I tell you what, because I am. I'm ready to get on with the day. Because that's some good stuff. That is some good stuff. All right. We should all be like Joseph and be confident in the Lord. Joseph would die, and he would... So this was a question. I just want to address it while I'm here before we get off of here today. So Joseph said that he would soon die, but he reminded them, but God will surely come help you and lead you out of this land of Egypt, and he will bring you back to the land solemnly promised to give to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right? So they were in the promised land, and they were pulled out and pulled on to Jesus because of Joseph. Not only were they pulled out because of Joseph, they were also pulled out of the promised land because there was a lot of corrupt things going on there. So the Lord probably, and most likely in a lot of commentaries, it will state that he wanted to pull them out of a corrupt place, right? So they brought them into Egypt. But now, we are going to see this story unfold if Israelites become slaves to Egypt, right? And there's going to be a man called that is going to bring them out, and that is going to be Moses. It's going to be good. But Joseph had instructed them to take his bones with them when they go back to the promised land. His brothers don't do that. So somebody asked me if that hadn't been fulfilled or when. It gets fulfilled in Joshua. Okay, when they go in and break down the walls of Jericho and all that good stuff. That's when that gets fulfilled. And it brings it back up. They don't get to because a whole bunch of years has passed, right? And there is significance in it. Because the bones would pretty much be dust by then. That's how many years had passed. Long time. Right? So, it was a representation. But his bones were supposed to remind people of how God can change your life. Right? That's another conversation for another day. It's a whole word all on its own. But his bones were as a reminder to the people of what God can do. It's good stuff. But that's it. Then we move into Job. If you're doing the reading the Bible in a year, Job is believed to have happened during this exact same time frame. So you got to read the book of Job. I guess I'm going to read it, but I ain't going to be happy about it because I've already read it a couple of times. And Job's friends get on my nerves. But Job is a really good book. It's a really long book. But Job is a really good book. I've already started some of my notes on Job. I've really got to get with it. I tell you what. But, I don't know. I might skip on to Exodus and then come back to Job towards the end of the year, maybe. Because I've actually already got a whole bunch of notes on Job. I think I have a whole workbook on Job on my website if I ever put it up there. Because our membership already went over Job. This is an Expressions Bible. All the Bibles I used are linked in my Amazon storefront. Can I post what? My notes? Oh, I turned them all into digital downloads. It's a big old digital download format. And it is on my website. It's Purpose, I Hope. Yes. Tabitha, I'm going to be working on Joseph as a digital download today. You can also get access to all my digital downloads, my Bible notes, my Bible studies, all those things in my membership. It's probably the best way to gain access to all those things. I teach the Bible in there, and you get access to all my stuff. All my studies, all my downloads, all the things, and we read the Bible together, and we go through it together. We are in Proverbs right now. We've been going through Proverbs together. We have done the Gospels, Acts, Job, and now we're in Proverbs. I honestly forgot where we're supposed to go next, but it's going to be good. But that was some good stuff this morning, huh? Part 2 to Joseph. I'm going to upload part 1 and 2 probably tonight. So whatever you missed, you can go on YouTube and watch it. I go live. So membership, the way it's structured is Monday nights we have a Zoom. Tuesdays you get a download. Wednesdays we do a discussion. Thursdays you get we do a Zoom. And then Friday you get a download. So we go live on Monday and Thursday, and then you get digital downloads and my notes for my studying on Tuesday and Friday. And then during our Zooms, we study and we take notes. I hope you have a wonderful day. I will be uploading these to YouTube probably tonight. I'm going to get Joseph 1 and 2 both up so they're up together. So you'll be able to rewatch it. Alrighty, you guys. Well, it's almost 9 o'clock. I really be trying to keep these lives to an hour, but I clearly don't know how to do that. Clearly. It's an issue. But is it Psalms after? We had a list. I lost that list. Psalms would take us forever, but it's going to be so good. All right, you guys. I love y'all so big. I got to do my study today and have a lot to do today. So I hope y'all have a very fabulous day. And my membership people, I shall see you tonight at 7 o'clock. Oh, just your suggestion. I won't drink no more milk, Adrian. Not after this last cup of coffee. I promise. We got to figure it out. We will figure it out because it won't be long and we're going to be done with Proverbs. We're on our way. For real. I love y'all so big. I hope y'all have a wonderful day. And I shall talk to you guys later. Till my coffee's gone. Woman, you crazy. Gotta have my coffee in the morning. You just got your ticket for conference? Yay! I love it. I love it. All right, you guys. Love y'all so big. I'll see y'all later. Yeah. Go out here. Have a great Monday. And you know what? Just focus your eyes on the Lord today, and I bet it'll make a difference. Love y'all.